Hello students, in this class we study about conventional sources of energy. The conventional sources of energy is divided into three, that is fossil fuel energy, hydraulic energy and nuclear energy. First one, that is fossil fuel energy. Fossil fuel energy is of coal, petroleum, natural gas are called fossil fuel, as these are formed by decomposition of the remains of dead plants and animals buried under the earth for a long time. These are non-renewable sources of energy which, if exhausted, cannot be replenished in short time. Their reserves are limited and are considered very precious. These are also contributing to the global environmental pollution. See, these coal, petroleum and natural gases are found under the earth, and these are very precious, and once if you are using that one, it will start depleting. So it is having a fixed amount of quantity which is under the earth. As much you use, so that it will start depleting. So that is why these are called as non-renewable sources of energy, that is, it is not renewed, so it is not replaced. So once if you are using that one, once if you use a petrol, then that amount of petrol is being used to convert as heat or heat and energy, and some amount of carbon dioxide will be emitted, and that petrol is being fully utilized, so that you cannot replace that amount of petrol. So that these are all called as fossil fuel of energy. It is found under the earth. So on that fossil fuel of energy, there are three types, that is coal, natural gas and petroleum. We just see first coal. The coal, since the advent of industrialization, coal has been most common source of energy. In the last 3 decades, the world switched over from coal to oil as a major source of energy, because it is simpler, cleaner to obtain useful energy from oil. So in the last decade, we can see that in 1850s and all, we are using the coal to run the trains and all, but today we are using diesel locomotive engines, and even we are using the electrically operated engines and all for train, that is traction. So here what we can see, that the coal is being replaced by the oil. Why? Because the coal is not that much of is not a cleaner source of energy. So this coal, when combusting, will emit the sulfur dioxide, sulfur monoxide and all. So, and also the combustion of coal is very harmful compared to the combustion of petrol or oil. The coal is a complex mixture of compounds of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Small amount of nitrogen and sulfur component are also present in coal. So I told you, small amount of nitrogen and sulfur is also present. Once if it is being combusted, it forms the nitrous oxide or sulfur dioxide. So this is very harmful, and it may cause even severe health problems. So there are the different types of coals which we can see. So this is, we can see as coal. This coal which a person is holding in hand is one of the highly valued coal. So that we come through now. So coal, it is mainly available in Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa and Madhya Pradesh in India. The big coal mines in our country are in Jahria and Bokaro in Bihar, and at Raniganj in West Bengal. It is considered as the backbone of energy sector for its use in industry, transportation and electric power generation. And we can see that India is the third largest producer of the coal in world. And also India is having the most number of coal reserves, and we can see that depending upon the carbon contents of the coal, it is being classified as follows. One is peat, the carbon content is 60%, and lignite, soft coal, the carbon content is 70%, and bituminous, household coal, that is 80% carbon content, and anthracite, hard coal, that is 90%. So here this coal is called as the anthracite coal, and is one of the purest form of coal. 90% peat. So we can see the peat is not a coal, partially decayed plant matter in swamps and bogs, low heat content, the peat. Then lignite, brown coal, low heat content, low sulfur content, limited supply in most areas. And you can find the lignite in the Tamil Nadu, that is a place is there, Neyveli. So there what happened is, the Neyveli, in there where there one thermal power plant is there, is situated in the side of the coal mining center. So what we can understand from this is, the coal, once it is mined, there is no time, it's not taken that much time to transport. It is, once it is mined, it is suddenly used for the production of electrical energy. So this is how you can overcome the, so this is how you can overcome the transportations. So that is, the wherever the coal mine is there, in the side of that also you can establish a thermal power plant. So this peat and lignite, bituminous and anthracite coal, the peat is not a coal. So the not a coal means it consists only of 60% of carbon. As I told you, it is only consists of 60% of carbon. And in the lignite, it is brown coal, but it is also a soft coal. It is a brown coal. It consists of a moisture. So in order to avoid that moisture, we need to treat that one. We need to place it in a treatment, so that after treating this coal only, we can use for the generation purpose. So that is of lignite, the low heat content, low sulfur content, limited supply in most areas. So you can see that in the blue line, you can see that the increase in moisture content, so in the anthracite, the moisture content is very less, and in the peat, the moisture content is very high. And you can see increase in heat and carbon content, and in the peat, the carbon content is heat and carbon content is very less, and in the anthracite, the heat and carbon content is very high. So that heat content is high means it is a very efficient coal. When the heat content is low means it is a very low efficient coal. So is what happens, then heat and pressure. So then what we can see, next one is bituminous coal. So bituminous coal is extensively used as a fuel because of its high heat content and large supply. Normally has a high sulfur content. So bituminous coal is having the highest, so it is having higher sulfur content. And the anthracite, or what we can call as a hard coal, is highly desirable fuel because of its high heat content and low sulfur content. Supplies are limited in most areas. So anthracite supplies are very limited. So what we can understand from this heat and pressure is, once if this peat coal is being treated for a high heat and pressure, it is being converted into lignite coal. So once the lignite coal is being treated with high heat and pressure, it is being converted into bituminous coal. Once this bituminous coal is treated with the high heat and pressure, it may convert into anthracite coal, but the quantity decreases. So if this much of quantity you cannot get here, you will be getting only small quantities here but after treating. Okay, so next we come to the petroleum. So in the previous we have seen peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite. These four are the coals. And coal, once again I will summarize, the coal is the is why we are considering coal. Coal is considered in early days, but it is being replaced by oil because the coal is having what? Coal is not a cleaner sources of energy. Why? Because it consists of nitrogen, sulfur and carbon and etc. So that after in combustion of that one, it will emit sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide and very toxic gases, and also the mining of that coal is also very tedious process. Okay, now we see about the petroleum. You can see the petroleum mining center. So petroleum or oil is a dark color. So you can see here a petroleum. This one is a petroleum tank, and you can see a dark colored, viscous and foul smelling crude oil. The petroleum means rock oil. It is normally found under the crust of the earth trapped in rocks. The crude oil is a complex mixture of several solid liquid gaseous hydrocarbon mixed with water, salt and earth particles. It is a natural product obtained from oil wells. So from the oil wells we can mine it and you can obtain the crude oil. The crude oil normally it is being made in terms of a barrel. So this we call as 1 barrel of crude oil. So 1 barrel of a crude oil is weighing almost around 240 to 270 liters. അതായത് 240 to 270 liters ആണ് ഒരു barrel crude oil അതുണ്ടാവുക. So some of the crude oil producing location in our countries are we can see the Ankleshwar and Kalol in Gujarat, and Rudrasagar and Lakwa in Assam, and Bombay High offshore area. So these are all. So there I have taken 2 to 3 places. So here we can see from the website of Oil and Natural Gas Company. So this is the latest update of this. So there we can see around the starting from the top, Jodhpur is having a gas resource, and Mehsana it is in the Gujarat, and Ahmedabad, and there we can have oil and gas resource also, and Ankleshwar, there we can have oil and gas resource. Cambay, there also oil and gas resource is there. Mumbai offshore area, there also oil and gas resource is there. And coming to the east, it is of in Tamil Nadu, Karaikal, oil and gas resource is there, and eastern offshore area, that is situated nearby Visakhapatnam, and one more area, that is Rajahmundry. And in the Assam area, in the Chhattisgarh, we can have the Bokaro gas, and in the Assam and we can have Tripura also one gas center. Okay, so these are all the areas where in India the gas resources are found, gas and oil resources are found abundant. So the petroleum or oil, the oil wells of Bombay are producing about 22 million tons of crude petroleum oil per year, which is little less than half of the total requirement of the country. The crude petroleum is refined by the process of fractional distillation to obtain more useful petroleum products. So we are using fractional distillation to obtain the petrol, diesel, gasoline, and the lubricating oils and natural gas, the petroleum gases. It's not a natural gases, it is a petroleum gas. So petroleum or oil, the crude petroleum is heated to a temperature of about 4000 degrees centigrade in furnace, and vapors thus formed are passed into a tall fractioning column from near its bottom. As the mixture of hot vapor rises in the column, it starts getting cooled and gradually. So this we can see here. The coal, this we can see this here and all you can see. I'm not getting that one. So okay, so this so okay, fine. This you can see here in the residue in the coal and all. So there we can use, it is in the petroleum ether, kerosene, residue, that is rotar, uncondensed gas, that is for fuel, that is LPG, naphtha, diesel oil, heavy oil, lubricating oil, and also, so these are of refining of crude petroleum oil. So after refining, at the top we will be getting the condensed oil, and in the bottom and all you will be getting diesel and petroleum oil. The products obtained from the crude petroleum is as follows: petroleum gas below 400 degrees centigrade used as LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, and petrol for light vehicles 400 to 1700 degrees centigrade. So it is having somewhat treated to the somewhat higher temperature. And next comes the kerosene, that is 170 to 2500 degrees centigrade for household and industrial use. Next comes the diesel, 250 to 3500 degrees centigrade for heavy vehicles. The residual oil and fuel oil is also there. Residual oil, that is lubricating oil and paraffin wax and asphalt, is being used for vehicles. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, now we see about the natural gas. So it consists about 95%, natural gas consists about 95% methane and rest ethane and propane. So natural gas, we can see there gas, oil, so we can see there gas, oil and water. So there we can see gas, oil and water. So this is the upper crust, and inside that one we can see gas, and there we can see the oil, and then blue color that we can see as water. So top is gas, then red color, black color is oil, and blue color is water. So oil will be there at the in the middle between natural gas and water. So natural gas consists of 95% methane and rest ethane and propane. It occurs deep under the crust of the earth, either alone or along with oil above the petroleum deposit. It is a product of petroleum mining. The gas is available in Tripura, Jaisalmer, offshore areas of Bombay High, and in the Krishna Godavari Delta. It is used as a domestic and industrial fuel. The natural gas is now available as CNG, that is compressible natural gas. It is used for vehicles also, and a substitution for petrol in automobiles. In Delhi and all, we can find a CNG operated vehicles. So next comes your hydro power plant. So hydro power plant, say there we can have a reservoir, and here we can see a penstock. So this will be a penstock, this will be a reservoir, and this is the generating station, and this is that one water which is coming out from the generating station. So this is spillway, this we call as spillway. So we can see a transmitting tower also here. Okay, next one we can see here in Nepal, one hydro power plant. So there we can see one there also we can see one reservoir and spillway. From the spillway the water is let out, and once if you increase, this is the spillway control valve, and from the spillway control valve you can either store water here or you can decrease the water heads, so we can control that one. Fine. The hydraulic energy or water power. Water power is developed by allowing water to fall under the force of gravity. It is used almost exclusively for electric power generation. Potential energy of water is converted into mechanical energy by using prime mover known as hydraulic turbine. Water power is quite cheap where water is available in abundance. Okay, so there we use potential energy. The potential energy of the water is converted into mechanical energy by using a prime mover. From that mechanical energy we convert the mechanical energy into the electrical energy by the turbines, by the generators. So turbine can convert potential energy into mechanical energy, and the generator convert mechanical energy into the electrical energy. So the hydraulic energy or water power, all through the capital cost of hydroelectric power plants is higher as compared to the other type of power plants, but their operating costs are quite low as no fuel is required in this cost. In this case, that is, operating cost is very lesser, but the initial cost is very higher. So the capital cost, that is, while setting that dam and all, it requires very high cost, but the operating cost and is somewhat lower, and also there we don't require any fuel. So it is fuel means the water, once the water abundant water is of abundant water resource is there, then you can use that water resource to produce the electrical energy. So in the Idukki, there we can see we are producing around 780 megawatt of electrical energy. So that capital cost is very higher, and after 15 to 20 years you will be recovering your entire capital cost. So the development of rate of hydropower is still low due to the following problems. In developing of a project, it will take about 6 to 10 years time for planning, investigation and construction. The high capital investment is needed, and some parts of the investment have to be designed from foreign source, and there are growing problems on reallocation of village involved compensation for damage, selecting the suitable resettlement area and environmental impact. So main case is that once if you choose a particular area for the hydroelectric power plant, say the first concern is of the environmental concern also. Recently our Kerala government has been opposing one hydroelectric power plant, but it is dropped that one because of this case only, environmental impact, and also the relocation of the villages and all, it is of very tedious process. That is what happened in the Narmada Bachao Andolan. There we can see it made a very big news in the whole the nation for the relocation of the particular resettlement, compensation for the damage and etc. it takes. So that is why the initial cost of this project is increasing. So you need around thousands of acres to be completely underwater. So that much of okay. Next, in order to reduce the cost of development, several measures have been considered. The development of low-cost turbines and generators, participation of village in the development and operation of the project, using the appropriate technology and tolerable standard requirements, and project civil work component at the beginning stage. But these measures, that is low cost turbines and generators development, so we need to have research and development on the low cost turbines and generation, and participation of village in the development of the operational project. That is, in the participating of this one, we can give some labor to the village people, those who have relocated to a particular place. And also okay, then we come to the nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is also a conventional source of energy now. So it is of we can see, I earlier told you that three types of energies, that is petroleum, fossil fuel energy, hydraulic energy now are completed. Next we see about the nuclear energy. Okay, next we see about nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is will be here we are using the uranium-235 for producing the heat. By nuclear fission we are able to produce that much of high amount of heat, and this being used to produce the electrical energy. So there we can see one steam generator. So this steam generator, and we can see a control rods are here, and uranium fuel and reactor vessel. So what happens, one a nuclear fission, one a slow moving neutrons, that is fast moving neutrons incident the uranium-235, then a bombardment of that one, it will release us it will cause us the nuclear fission. It will cause us the chain reaction. So once the chain reaction starts, so we are not able to control it. So in order to control that chain reaction, we are using the control rod. So if this control rod is not functioning properly, so once if you are initiating the chain reaction in the uranium fuel, then if you are not able to control the control rods, then normally used are graphite. So these control rods are not being used, then this entire process will get damaged. So this will be a water vapor which we found in the nuclear reactor. This will be a water vapor, and this will be a cooling tower, and this is that water which is spilled away. Okay. So nuclear energy, according to the modern theories of atomic structure, the matter consists of minute particles known as atoms. Heavier unstable atoms such as uranium-235, thorium-239 liberate large amount of heat energy. The energy released by the complete fission of 1 kg of uranium-235 is equal to the heat energy obtained by burning 4500 tons of coal or 220 tons of oil. So you can able to compare, that is by burning 4500 tons of coal, by converting, by complete fission of 1 kg of uranium, we are able to get that much of energy. The heat produced by nuclear fission of the atoms or of fissionable material is utilized in special heat exchangers for the production of steam, which is then used to drive turbo generator. അതായത് ഒരു ന്യൂക്ലിയർ റിയാക്ടർ ഉണ്ടാവും. ആ ന്യൂക്ലിയർ റിയാക്ടറിനുള്ളിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്തു, ഒരു കൺട്രോൾ റോഡ് ഉണ്ടാവും. കൺട്രോൾ റോഡിൽ ന്യൂക്ലിയർ റിയാക്ടറിൽ ഒരു ഫാസ്റ്റ് മൂവിങ് ന്യൂട്രോൺസ് വന്നിട്ട് uranium-235നെ ബോംബാർഡ് ചെയ്ത പാട് അവിടെ ഒരു ചെയിൻ റിയാക്ഷൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യും. ആ ചെയിൻ റിയാക്ഷനിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, ഒരു ഹൈ എമൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ഹീറ്റ് ലിബറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. ആ ഹീറ്റിനെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഈ ഒരു സ്റ്റീം ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഈ സ്റ്റീം അതിലെ കൂടെ ഇങ്ങനെ ഫ്ലോ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് വരും. ആ സ്റ്റീം എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഈ ഒരു ഹൈ എമൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ഹീറ്റിനെ മീൻസ് ഈ ഒരു കോൾഡ് വാട്ടർ, ആ കോൾഡ് വാട്ടർ ഈ ഒരു ഹീറ്റ് മുഴുവനും ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യും. ഈ ഹീറ്റ് മുഴുവൻ ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ആ കോൾഡ് വാട്ടർ എന്തായിട്ട് മാറും, സ്റ്റീമായിട്ട് മാറും. ആ സ്റ്റീമായിട്ട് മാറിയ ആ കോൾഡ് വാട്ടറിനെ നമ്മൾ എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു ടർബോ ജനറേറ്റർ ഓർ സ്റ്റീം ജനറേറ്ററിന് കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈൻ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈന് അതെന്താ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈനെ റൺ ചെയ്യും. സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈൻ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈൻ അത് മെക്കാനിക്കലി റൊട്ടേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. ആ സ്റ്റീം ടർബൈൻ്റെ റൊട്ടേഷന് അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഒരു ടർബോ ജനറേറ്റർ ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. ടർബോ ജനറേറ്റർ അത് ഇലക്ട്രിക്കൽ എനർജി പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. So however, there are some limitations in the use of nuclear energy, namely high capital cost of nuclear power plants, limited availability of raw materials, difficulties associated with disposal of radioactive wastage, and storage of well-trained personnel to handle the nuclear power plant, and shortage of well-trained personnel to handle the nuclear power plants. So first is the high capital cost, second is the disposal of the radioactive material, and third is available scarcity of the raw material, and fourth is the highly trained person. So the highly trained person is not available. So his four disadvantages are there for nuclear energy. So next one, however, there are some limitations in the use of nuclear energy, namely high capital cost, limited availability of raw materials, difficulty associated with disposal of radioactive waste, shortage of well-trained personnel, and the uranium reserves in the world at present are small. These reserves are recoverable but are expensive. Presently the working power plants are in India, that are Tarapur Atomic Power Station in Maharashtra, Ran Pratap Sagar Atomic Power Station near Tota, Rajasthan, and Kalpagam Atomic Power Station near Madras, Tamil Nadu, and Narora Atomic Power Station in UP. About 3% of energy produced in India is obtained from nuclear power plants. So these are all the total power plants energy, nuclear power plant energy, which we can see that. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of conventional energy resources? So what is the advantage? So we have studied this one, what nuclear energy, that is hydro energy and fossil fuel energy. So these three energy are the advantages. The coal as present is cheap, it is very cheaper. So some of them are very cheaper. And second is security. By storing certain quantity, the energy availability can be ensured for a certain period. By storing a particular water, we can able to ensure the energy availability. By collecting some amount of uranium-235, we can ensure the availability energy. By storing coal also you can able to ensure the availability of energy. അതായത് ഒരു സെക്യൂരിറ്റി പോലെയാണ്. പിന്നെ ഇത് ചീപ്പാണ്, സെക്യൂരിറ്റി ഉണ്ട്, പിന്നെ കൺവീനിയൻസ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് വെരി കൺവീനിയൻറ്റ് ടു യൂസ്. അത് ഒരു പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം ആക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നല്ല കൺവീനിയൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. പിന്നെ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ്? യെസ്, ദ ഫോസിൽ ഫ്യൂവൽ ജനറേറ്റ് pollutants, that is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, particulate matter and heat. The pollutants degrade the environment, pose health hazards and cause various other problems. അതായത് ഒരു കാർബൺ ഡയോക്സൈഡും കാർബൺ മോണോക്സൈഡും ഒക്കെ അത് എമിറ്റ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് അത് വേരിയസ് ഹെൽത്ത് പ്രോബ്ലംസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കും. ആൻഡ് സെക്കൻഡ് വൺ, വെൻ യൂസ്ഡ് ഓൺ എ ലോങ് റൺ ക്യാൻ ഡിപ്ലീറ്റ് സോൺ. കുറേ നാളത്തേക്ക് നമ്മൾ ഈ ഒരു നോൺ കൺവെൻഷണൽ ഈ കൺവെൻഷണൽ എനർജി സോഴ്സ് നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് കുറച്ച് നാൾ കഴിയുമ്പോൾ അത് ഡിപ്ലീഷൻ ആവും, അതായത് കുറയും. സോ മെയിൻ പ്രോബ്ലം വെച്ചാൽ ഇത് എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ പൊല്യൂഷൻ ഉണ്ടാക്കും. പിന്നെ എന്തൊക്കെ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ്? അത് കുറേ കൊല്ലം കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അത് ഡിപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് പോകും. അതായത് 2080. സോ ഇതേ രീതിയിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അറൗണ്ട് 2080 അതായത് അടുത്തൊരു 22nd സെഞ്ച്വറിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ നമ്മളെ കോളും ഗ്യാസും ഓയിൽ റിസർവ് മുഴുവനും ഡിപ്ലീറ്റ് ആവുന്ന രീതിയിലാണ് ഇവിടെ കാണും. So next one we see non-conventional energy sources. In the next class we see that one. So these are all solar, wind, biomass, tidal, wave and geothermal.